Hey, Greg.
Hey, Max.
It's National Signing Day.
I haven't seen one thing about it.
It's strangely quiet out there.
I know.
All right. Let's see here. 3 minutes to go. Hopefully I did not forget anything.
I hope not either.
Oh.
'You're never going to believe this.
Uh-oh.
But a tweet about Art Briles,
Yeah.
Baylor fans really like,
Uh-huh.
and non-Baylor fans really don't like.
That's crazy.
staggering.
"45 seconds. "20 seconds. "10.
Count me down from like 11.
No, I'm not doing that.
How to sing blues, baby. Shot glass in your hand.
Yes, y'all! It is DCTF and live for Wednesday, February 3rd, 2016.
Is there anything significant about that date?
We'll get to that
Okay.
in a moment,
All right.
Max.
Sorry.
Episode number 66, the Doug Davis episode. He's literally the only Ranger to ever wear number 66.
Okay.
And today, Max,
Yeah.
is a special day.
Okay.
Today, as everybody knows,
Yeah.
the Topps baseball cards came out.
Oh.
Of course.
Okay.
That's what everybody's talking about, right?
Okay.
No. It is National Signing Day. National Signing Day. It's it's Christmas for recruitniks. It's the biggest day of the recruiting year, and I say maybe
Okay.
we have the biggest show we ever have had. I really mean
I
that.
actually don't think that's in dispute. This is a
So
home run of a show.
So let's start.
As long as you and I don't screw it up, this show is going to be incredible.
Let's start at the back. Let's start at the let's work backwards.
Okay.
1245. A guy who's known for putting a couple guys in the in the college ranks and maybe even in the NFL.
Bit
A guy
of
who's
a-
done it once or twice.
Bit of a head of a factory down there.
Cedar Hill coach Joey McGuire going to be joining us. Another huge
How did you get that?
Another
How'd
huge
you pull
signing
that off?
class. And if we stopped right there,
Pretty good show.
we'd be like, you know what? Good show.
That's a pretty great show.
Pretty happy with it.
We could probably spend an entire hour with Joey McGuire and not be
But-
short of entertainment.
But we're not done.
Wait, there's more?
12:30. We're going to back it up a little bit more. We're going to be joined by Keenan Murphy. You may not know who Keenan Murphy is, and that's okay.
Oh, I know who Keenan Murphy is.
Crosby offensive tackle and Houston signee. Hashtag H-Town Takeover. Heading to Houston. We're going to talk to him about the recruiting process. Going to talk to him about all that implies, his decision to go to Houston, all that. And if we stopped right there, you and I would be high-fiving. We'd be
That's a
like,
great
yeah,
show.
dude, great show.
That's a great show.
Great show for signing day.
Great show.
But we didn't stop there, Max.
Oh,
no.
man. The big reveal.
12:15. In 12 minutes, we will be joined by the head coach of your SMU Mustangs. It is Chad Morris.
What?
So,
My guy, Chad.
so to recap, we've got an FBS college coach, a high school coach who puts more prospects out there than maybe anybody in the state, and one of the best prospects in the state. One of the best signees in the state. All on signing day. All for you. All for you.
Valued viewer and listener.
My goodness. We are DCTF Live every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com. We are here talking football in the state of Texas. Mammoth show.
Pretty cool show. I'm pretty excited. So what are we going to talk about until then?
So
Probably nothing.
Probably nothing. We're just going to be quiet and sit here and just, By the way, you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. It is the hottest podcast out there. And we got a big guest tomorrow that we're going to reveal at the end of the show.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so it is National Signing Day, and one thing we wanted to do is there's going to be a lot of talk about who had the best class and all that fun stuff. We'll get to all that. We've got time to break that down. But for now, we look over the 12. You can check out the classes at texasfootball.com/signing day for all 12 FBS teams in the state of Texas. We've got the whole list, all the signings. And I've gone through and I've picked one guy in each class that I think fans can get excited about right now. And it might not be the quarterback.
Okay.
It might not be the wide receiver. But it's a guy who I think has a future of being very big for that program.
Okay.
We'll roll through the 12
Wow.
FBS programs.
All
Right?
You're calling these guys your gems.
My gems. My
Okay.
gems of the class. Okay? We'll go alphabetically.
Okay.
Because that's just easier for me.
Sure.
Because I will forget somebody if I don't go alphabetically.
Sure.
Start with Baylor.
Okay.
Baylor, you got a couple different options you can go here. You can go with Parrish Cobb, the cornerback out of Waco La Vega, who we really liked when we saw at the state title game.
Do everything and do it well.
But for now, I'm going to go with an offensive lineman. I'm going to go with Patrick Hudson, the Silsbee tackle. He's a big get, I think one of the best prospects in this class. A super teamer in Dave Campbell's Texas football, a huge kid who's got great mobility, and I think for a program that turned Spencer Drango into a star, they can do the same with Patrick Hudson out of Silsbee. I think for Baylor, Patrick Hudson is a home run for them. We moved down to Houston. Okay, and we're going to be talking to one of the great stars of this Houston class, this very good Houston class. But I think there is only one guy you can mention here, right? It's got to be Spring Westfield defensive lineman Ed Oliver. It's the first time that a consensus 5-star prospect has gone to a group of 5 program. This is historic, what Tom Herman is doing. And Ed Oliver is awesome. Awesome. I think that he is. If you want to make an argument that he's the best defender in the state, I think that's a real argument. I think that he is a superstar in the making. If you go read the quotes that from other coaches that Bruce Feldman was tweeting,
these were good.
Basically along the lines of, he would have been a stud in the SEC. In the American Athletic Conference, he can be undoubtedly the best player in the conference.
Yeah.
So. A lot of fun, great pickup for Houston. North Texas. Obviously, Seth Luttrell comes in, has to build the kind of on the fly, put together a recruiting class. I think it's a good recruiting class. I think considering
all things considered,
exactly. It's not bad.
No.
I really like Fort Worth Arlington Heights wide receiver Dion Griffin, a guy who played a little bit of quarterback there at Arlington Heights. Has now become, I think, has a future as a real breakout star in the Seth Luttrell offense. I think that Dion Griffin for North Texas, great pickup for the Mean Green. For Rice, one of my favorite players.
This is, it'd been the upset of the century if you hadn't picked this guy.
If I hadn't picked Will Phillips.
It'd been an upset of the century.
The Franklin linebacker is one of my favorite players in the entire state. He is just a workhorse. And a guy who played running back and linebacker for them. Just a stud. Go watch his video. It's up on TexasFootball.com/signing day. Go watch Will Phillips' video. It's outrageous. He is a fantastic player. And if he were, I firmly believe that if he played above the 3A level, we would be talking about him as an elite prospect. I really think
makes sense.
I think that he is hurt by the fact that he just played at a smaller rank. But at Rice, I think he could be a superstar.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
SMU, we're going to be talking to Chad Morris in a little bit, in about 10 minutes. And one of the guys that I'm going to ask him about is Waco La Vega wide receiver Brandon Benson. You know, we saw him at the state title game really put on a show. A physical wide receiver, the kind of guy that you can play anywhere in the slot, out wide, an H-back position. I think Brandon Benson is super versatile, and that versatility is going to lend itself very well to getting on the field early and doing things, doing special things for the Ponies.
He was so impressive in that title game.
He was really good, really good. TCU, sticking with Houston area and sticking with guys that we saw at the title game. I think Darius Anderson. They flip him from Missouri.
Yeah.
And when we saw him,
I'm sorry, by the way.
When we saw him at the title game, first of all, that George Ranch team was absurdly fast, and Darius Anderson was the one who stood out above them all as the fastest,
right,
which is certainly saying something. Very, very, very impressive. I think Darius Anderson has a great future in this TCU offense. I think that's a great pickup. Texas. A lot of places you can go with, almost all of them coming today. It's been
especially with the way they're closing right now.
It's been a big, excellent day for Texas.
The Horns.
And I think it all starts, the big catch in all of them is Nacogdoches safety Brandon Jones, considered the best uncommitted prospect in Texas heading into signing day. I thought that he was fantastic. A very, very good, and I think that he's, you look at all the defenders that are going to Texas these days, and all the defenders that are coming in, especially here on National Signing Day and this big push.
Right.
Brandon Jones is a superstar in the making, and I think that anybody who's watched him and anybody who's covered him can see that.
Yeah.
I think Brandon Jones has a future as a excellent Texas Longhorn. Texas A&M. I know Aggies are a little bit disappointed. It's been a good signing day. It hasn't been a great one. I think compared to the past couple of classes for Kevin Sumlin, this is a bit of a measured step back. But, and I've mentioned his name here before, Justin Matabuke, the defensive end from McKinney North, is a game changer.
You like him a lot.
I like him a lot. Justin Matabuke is a ferocious, hellacious pass rusher. He is just as sensational a defensive end as you're going to find out there. And at Texas A&M under John Chavis, with those guys, with the history of defenders, defensive linemen that they've put out in recent years, I think Justin Matabuke has a chance to be the next big thing at Texas A&M. Texas State. So the Bobcats' class is good. There's a lot of JUCO guys, obviously filling in gaps, and Everett Withers is kind of in the same situation that Seth Luttrell is in. Obviously, coming in, taking over a program that he has to put together his signing class on the fly. I think that one of the guys he was able to hold on to, and I think is a real sleeper in this whole class, is Marquise Bates, the wide receiver out of Edna. He is huge. I want to get this right. Let me look at this. But he is a huge wide receiver. You're listening to live coverage of me Googling Marquise Bates. Marquise Bates, 6'5". I was going to say, I thought he was 6'6". He's 6'5",
Still
205.
That's pretty big.
A monster out there. And when you talk about wanting a number one receiver, Marquise Bates can be that guy.
Yeah.
And I think in a lot of the same ways as with Will Phillips, if he had been playing at a school at a higher classification than Edna, I think that we would be talking about him as a top-tier recruit. I think that he is a steal for Texas State, and I think Marquise Bates has an opportunity to be a number one receiver for Texas State in the very near-term future. Texas Tech. Surprise, surprise. I'm going to go with Jet Duffy.
Huh.
The Mansfield Lake
Who
Ridge
could've seen
quarterback
that
on the
coming?
cover of our magazine, Texas Football Rising, or Dave Campbell Presents
Quick
Texas
plug.
Football Rising. It's our recruiting guide, so go ahead and pick that up. It's got 2017, 2018, 2019 recruits, plus all your 2016 recruits.
Yeah.
Jet Duffy, Mr. Texas Football, as dynamic a quarterback in the state as we've seen this year. I think we've said
We love him. We've said plenty
We've
about
said
him.
plenty about Jet
Yeah.
Duffy. Sorry, Jet. We've given you
You've
plenty
had your
of
time.
UTEP. I tweeted this. UTEP has got to stop recruiting
Your
my
favorite running
man
backs.
crush running backs, okay? A few years ago, it was Aaron Jones, who has now turned into the heartbeat of that offense. And now they pick up Kennedale running back Quadras Wadley. And go look at his numbers. The numbers speak for themselves. He is a workhorse. And now he's going to UTEP in a run-first offense. I think he's going to dazzle. I think that this is a big pickup for UTEP. I think Q Wadley has a chance to be a big-time star. And then UTSA. So UTSA kind of in that same situation with a new coach in Frank Wilson. They've got to kind of put together a class kind of on the fly. But I think that they were able to hold on to defensive end Jared McLinn out of Carthage. And this is a big-time prospect, a guy who has had a lot of offers, a lot of attention out in East Texas coming from another kind of factory, another kind of prospect factory out there in East Texas in Carthage. And he is going to come in and be very polished, ready to go on day one. I think that Jared McLinn is a steal for UTSA. And so overall, we've got all the signing classes up at texasfootball.com/signing day. You can check them all out. Who are your gems in these classes? Let us know. #DCTF Live. Get involved with the conversation. And overall, it's been, the real headlines today, Max, I think you would agree. Texas's surge. They've picked up a ton of big-time commitments on signing day, which is not something they've done a whole lot in the past, especially under Mac Brown. They never really did that. Mac Brown liked to go in there and have everything signed away. Have everything done, and he liked for signing day to be very boring. Not so with this year's Texas class. This has been an outstanding Texas class. I think that they are the big winners today, and I don't think there's really any question. Baylor signs a great class. TCU signs a great class. I think Tech signed a super underrated class. They don't have the superstar power that you've seen in other places, but they do have a lot of guys that I think are super underrated, guys like Bryson Denley, guys like Antoine Cox-Wesley, a few other guys from around the state. I think that Texas Tech put together a really underrated class. Watch out for them. Speaking of underrated classes, one of the guys who has put together another terrific recruiting class on the Hilltop at SMU is Chad Morris, and we are so happy to be joined by the head coach of the SMU Mustangs. It is Chad Morris. Coach Morris, thanks for taking some time.
Hey, appreciate you guys. You bet. Pleasure to be a part.
So what's this day like? How has this day gone for you as far as what you've done? How happy you are with how things worked out? What's this day been like for you?
Well, really, the day started about 1:30 this morning when you're still on the phone with guys and talking to guys, and as far as just when guys calling you and all that stuff, and you just you start then, you try to get a little bit of rest, you do a somersault out of the bed, you get your suit on, and you sprint to work, and you get up here about 5:30 in the morning, and you anxiously sit around and hurry up and wait and till 7, and so. So we've been going strong, but a great day, just a great celebration of a lot of hard work. The coaches and their wives and everybody's truly a family party, and that's what we had. We had probably, I would say, in the neighborhood of 150 boosters and everybody up here partying with us today. So been a lot of fun this morning.
This is your second signing day as a head coach and your second signing day with SMU. What have you learned from maybe last year to this year that has helped you in what was your first full recruiting cycle with the Mustangs?
Yeah, the number one thing and I knew that coming in, is the fact that, being a Texas high school coach, I mean, you can get your kids, you can really, if you do a great job in this state, these high school coaches want one of their own to succeed. And that's one thing we've really built off of. And, we're the only Division I team in the state of Texas that can lay claim that on signing day the last 2 years since we've gotten here, that we've signed all Texas kids. And that's a big deal to me, and that's huge. And doesn't mean we're not going to go outside our great state, but, we were able to lay claim and brand the market. We're going to be Texas tough. And it's going to start with our coaches here in this state. So, but again, that's been probably one of the biggest things, is really trying to sell that, and knowing that the other thing would be that we know our year didn't go like we wanted it. We kind of felt like it could go the way it went, but to sell our culture, and in down times, when times aren't going good, your culture of the program you establish is what's going to get you through it. And we've done an unbelievable job, our staff has, of telling, and modeling what our culture is about.
I wanted to ask you about that because obviously the wins have not come to SMU in the way that you guys would have liked. I imagine that when you're going out there and you're winning 12 games a year, it's a lot easier to tell a kid, hey, come on board. What's your message to guys when they start looking around and say, okay, well, you've won 4 games the last 2 years. What's your message to recruits at that point?
Well, I guess I'm a little bit different because I didn't come into a program that was established, and I came into a program that's been for the last couple of years have been kind of down, and so I took over a tough situation, and I knew that coming in, and I knew it was going to take a collective group of people and coaches in this state, alumni. It's going to take administrators on our campus to realize what it's going to take to win. Because I do know how to win, and that's all we have done is ever win, and it's going to take the fact of everybody locking arms, and we're going to have to establish the same culture, and the culture's got to be commitment. Commitment's got to be part of the culture, and I'm talking about commitment. I'm talking about commitment to facilities, commitment to winning being important, and that's why I'm here. And coming from a great program where I was with Coach Sweeney out at Clemson, we know how to win. Coach did a great job of establishing the culture there, and we're taking a lot of that, what we did at Clemson, and bringing it here and putting our own spin on it. But so as you go out and you sell that to players, you got a chance to come in here and play immediately. We played one of the toughest schedules in all of college football last year. 6 of our 12 teams that we played were ranked in the top 20, and so we knew coming in, 1, you're taking over a 1-11 team. 2, you play a tough schedule like we did. We were in just about every game, but we just didn't have the firepower to finish, and it was because of lack of depth, and that's where recruiting comes in.
We're talking to SMU coach Chad Morris here on DCTF Live. Get involved with the conversation at hashtag DCTF Live. For you, we make a big deal out of the fact that verbal commitments are non-binding. Are there a lot of white knuckle times this time of year?
Well, there are. I mean, anytime you deal with 17, 18-year-old kids in decision making, and I try to tell these guys all the time, when they do try to commit to us at an early time, I try to literally talk them out of it. And I don't want them to do that. I want to give them exactly what the word commitment means. And and if you're ready to commit, then we'll take it. But if you're not, then go date. It's different from being married and then dating. And so we try to sell that and stress that to these guys. But it is. I mean, until you get the final, the final signature on the paper, then you can kind of breathe deep. But, and what's sad about this, and I can say this because, being a high school coach in this state for as long as I have, and then get in college football, I mean, the college coaches, they know how to ask questions. They know how to if you leave a door open as a commitment, and then you say, well, for now, or just if the door is cracked, people know how to ask questions to get in the door, and so you really try to coach your guys up. You really talk with the parents, and that's one thing I can say with this Stain Gang 16 class that we signed. Not only are they all from the state of Texas, but they're also, we got some great parents that are a part of this and part of this building process with us too.
If you had carte blanche and you could change anything about the recruiting process and how we do things here, what would you change?
Yeah, I would say that if you committed to me, I'm going to have a piece of paper right there for you to sign. Mm-hmm. So you better think long and hard when you commit. Is this what you want? I think that's something. I don't think it'll ever get to that point. But I feel like one of these days we may get into an early signing period, which I'm in favor of. The whole deal is when it would be. Do you do it in December? Do you do it in August? I'm great with doing it in August. So that's the one thing. If we could change one thing about this, when you're ready to commit, and if the NCAA would allow us to do that, here's your piece of paper. Let's go ahead and sign up, and let's do it now. And then we take everybody out of play. You take the pressure off the high school coach, you take the pressure off the student athlete, and the pressure's off the universities. And so those type of things. And then the next question is, well, what happens if a coach, if you have an early signing day in August, and then the coach gets fired or he leaves? Then, hey, we still got guys making decisions the whole month of December and January anyway. So just let them, once the head coach leaves, the commitment's off. And so, but again, that's for a whole nother subject, probably a whole nother radio show. But I could talk about that all day long. But you know what? I'm excited about today.
Well, let's let you talk up a few of these guys. I know that we've been following them here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football for quite a while, and one of the guys that immediately jumps off the page at me is Manville linebacker Jordan Carmouche coming in to get a big-time defender like that from the Houston area. What do you like about Jordan's game?
Well, Jordan is a young man we got on early last year, and then it kind of tailed off. Obviously, he committed to another school, and and I guess about the 1st of December, he reached out to us and said, "Coach, I would really, really like to think and talk to you if you have an interest." And obviously we did. He said, "Coach, I would like an opportunity to play linebacker or play running back." And I said, so we talked a little bit, and running back was an area that we were lack of depth at. And I said, so we talked and communicated, and I said, absolutely, Jordan, we'd give you an opportunity to come in here and play running back. You got the size. That's something that we need, especially in some short yardage situations. But yeah, come on. And if this running back gig doesn't work out, I know you can play linebacker. So yeah, that's kind of the way that thing started.
And then another guy, one of your big hog mollies up front that you're getting. You're bringing in San Angelo Central offensive tackle Braxton Webb, a guy who was a real leader for that Bobcats team out there. When you watched Braxton Webb, what excites you about him coming to the Hilltop?
Well, he's such a passionate guy. You know, that's one of the things that you love about him. And you go out there and you get a chance to meet his family and watch those, how he was raised and just knowing that this guy loves the game of football. And when he gets his hands on you, you better look out. Mm-hmm. So a great young man that's going to add some depth into our offensive line, which we're excited about.
And then another player who we were so impressed with at the state championship games, Waco La Vega wide receiver Brandon Benson coming to the Hilltop. I imagine that as an offensive-minded guy, you're excited to see a guy like Brandon Benson suiting up for the Ponies.
Yeah, how about that guy? You know, the guy goes down there, they win a state championship. He's playing both sides of the ball. And to know that he's going to have an opportunity to come in here and play immediately when he steps on campus. Brandon's a great young man. I got an unbelievable smile. He walks in a room and he just lights it up and just a great leader. I searched high and low for guys that have his skill set. And obviously we've coached some unbelievable wide receivers where we've been, and he's going to be another one of those guys.
Is there anybody in your class that you think people aren't talking about enough that you've got really, really high expectations for?
Well, yeah, obviously there's a lot. There's a young man by the name of Ryan Becker, mm-hmm. and Ryan's out of Marble Falls. And if you've seen any video on this guy at all, you know that this guy has something to him. And so he's got a lot of video where he's playing tackle and defensive end, but he runs well. He's got great hands. He's actually going to come in here as a tight end. And then the other tight end I got is Corey Rao out of Cinco Ranch, played for Coach Clayton. And man, you talking about a guy with an unbelievable skill set that he's got a great future ahead of him. Gives us an opportunity to set the edge, he can get his hand on the ground. You can put him in the backfield, but. We got a lot of guys that are just really, really good football players, but they're passionate about the game. And the more and more I've been at this level, the more, and it may not make sense to you guys, but as a coach, you want guys that love to play the game, and that's a tough combination right there.
We're talking to SMU coach Chad Morris here on DCTF Live. Get involved in the conversation, hashtag DCTF Live. And, Coach, one last question before we go. Speaking of video, a video of you recently surfaced online of you kind of busting a move, about you dancing a little bit. And I want to give you an opportunity to maybe grade yourself as a dancer. Do you think that you're what kind of 4-star dancer, 5-star dancer?
I'm the best, worst dancer of all times. I think that's what one of the recruits said to me. He said, "Coach, you're the best, worst I've ever seen." So, but no, it's great. It's fun, and you got to have fun with this. And you know what? Anything we can do to get some guys on the campus that are going to help us get this program back to where it needs to be, because we're going to get it back. And this is too great of a city, and our university has too much to sell not to get it going. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and hey, who knows? There'll be more dancing where that came from.
We have no doubt that you will get them back on the winning ways, and you'll be dancing all the way there. He is Chad Morris. He is the head coach of the SMU Mustangs. Coach, congratulations on an outstanding recruiting class, and maybe go get some sleep?
Well, they got me we got a big party tonight, and they got me all over the state tomorrow talking to alumni. Then maybe get a little bit of downtime, but you know what? I know head coach. Guys get a lot of credit when times like these. But I got a great staff that has really worked hard, and I got a great recruiting department that has really done an unbelievable job of helping us out. But I'm excited and proud to say that. And we signed 25 kids off from our great state, and that's Texas tough right there. So we're going to build on that. We
like it a lot. Coach Chad Morris, thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
There he goes, Chad Morris, the head coach of the SMU Mustangs. That's something I didn't necessarily realize until he said it, but yeah, all 25 from the state of Texas. That's cool. That's cool. And you and I are pretty clear in what we're saying. We don't root for teams. We don't root for, that's just not part of what we do. But what we do like is we like seeing Texas kids play in Texas.
No question.
And
Want to keep them here.
We want to keep them here. We are unequivocally in favor of that. And that's not to say there aren't other great opportunities out there that maybe, maybe some other schools have better opportunity. But when we really enjoy watching kids from Texas play in Texas. So
no question.
It's a lot of fun. We are DCTF Live. We are here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Everyone's doing it. My mom downloaded the podcast the other day, and I don't really think she knows what it is, but she did. And so you should do it too. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. It is National Signing Day. It's all about signing classes and recruits. And a little bit later in the show, we're going to be joined by Joey McGuire, the head coach of the Cedar Hill Longhorns, who knows a little bit of something about getting guys to the next level. It's been a fun day. It starts very early. Everybody wakes up, and of course, every journalist complains about having to wake up this early, and that's because we are people who like to sleep in. So I've got a lot of respect for my media brethren who all wake up very early, because I know the struggle. It stinks, guys. We like waking up around 10 o'clock, but a lot of signings all across the state. One of the classes that has really caught my eye has been the Houston Cougars. Obviously, getting Ed Oliver is a big catch for them. I mentioned them, but it goes a lot deeper than that. It's a very good class all across the state. It spans the state, but a lot of them have stayed in Houston. Tom Herman has done a great job keeping guys in Houston coming to the University of Houston, and one of those outstanding catches is the tackle from Crosby High School, the newest signee for #H-Town Takeover. It is Keenan Murphy. Keenan, thank you so much for joining, and congratulations.
Thank you. I'm glad to be on.
Tell us a little bit about the recruiting process and what about Houston really drew you in.
Like I said, I went over there to the campus. I like the campus a lot. They got a new stadium. They got a lot of big things going on over there. The coaches there, they seem to be some really chill dudes out there.
They do seem like some really chill dudes, and this is a team that's on the rise. Did last year's how much did last year's result? How much did last year's 13-1 season, obviously a conference championship, a Peach Bowl championship? How much did that play into your decision?
It didn't really play into my decision too much. I had made my decision to go to U of H before they had even became anything like what they are right now. Now it made it more reassuring after they did what they did.
Absolutely. We're talking with Keenan Murphy, the newest Houston Cougar here on DCTF Live. Get involved with the conversation at #DCTF Live. For folks who maybe haven't seen you and folks who maybe haven't watched you play, what can you tell Cougar fans to expect from you when you get on campus?
They can expect me to come in, work hard, and play hard. I'm going to do what I do, and that's what it's going to be.
I'm always interested in the process of recruiting. Do you have any crazy stories from the recruiting trail? Any kind of odd, you don't have to name schools, but any kind of odd strategies to try to get you to come to their school?
Most colleges, they gonna name the pros and the cons of going to their school. They're gonna try to go up against what they think is your best school, and they're gonna compare them here and there, and they're gonna try to pitch you on some ideas that you gotta learn how to sort through, and it's really up to you what you think about it.
What has this day been like for you? Obviously, a long time coming. A lot of hard work has gone into this. What was the feeling like when you finally picked up the pen and put pen to paper and signed on with Houston?
Dreams were coming true at that point. Mm-hmm. This is something I had been talking to my friends, mom, dad, since 7th grade, and I told them what I wanted to do, and now it's actually it's a dream coming true.
Talking with Keenan Murphy, the newest Houston Cougar here on DCTF Live. Get involved with the conversation at #DCTF Live. One thing that's out there is your new coach, Tom Herman, he is one heck of a coach, and you know that there's a lot of talk about how a lot of other programs are going to be after him. What's your reaction to that? What's your reaction to when people would come up to you and say, hey, well, Tom Herman's not going to be at Houston very long?
I always say that he's still there now. And until that day comes, maybe they'll be right, maybe they'll be wrong. But for right now, he's there, and that's all that matters.
How much did the offensive scheme play into your decision? Obviously, a very fun offense Tom Herman runs out there, but how much did the offensive scheme that you'd be playing in play into your decision?
They like to run the ball. They like and throw the ball. It's kind of a 50-50 thing. That's what I like. I like to run the ball personally. I'm a road grader, and that's what I like to do.
Coming from a Crosby program that has, in the past few years, become a real powerhouse in the Houston area, when you think back on your days at Crosby, what are your biggest and fondest memories going to be about playing for the Crosby Cougars?
The coaches. I had to give a whole lot of thanks to Coach Coker, Coach Reardon, Coach Mann, and Coach Harrison. They made my time here real good. Like I say, the program, the workout program was good. During pregame, they made pregame one of the best places you could be. That was my biggest thing.
So now you're going from playing in one new beautiful stadium at Crosby to playing in another big beautiful stadium at Houston. When you first walked into the new stadium at Houston, what was your first reaction?
Wow. That's the first thing that came to my mind is wow. That lets me know that the University of Houston has invested into their football program by building a new stadium and building a whole lot of new facilities.
Obviously, today's National Signing Day, a lot of commitments coming in. Is there anybody in Houston's class that you're particularly excited about getting to play alongside?
Well, they brought in so many good guys that I couldn't really narrow that down to you. I'm looking excited to playing with everybody like Derek King, Dixie Wooten, all those guys. All those guys are some go-getters, some ball players.
And what's interesting about it is that you are obviously a Houston area guy going to play with a lot of other Houston area guys. For you, what does it mean to be playing with a lot of other guys from your town playing for the University of Houston?
That lets me know they're proud of where they're from. They stayed home just like me to play here in Houston to represent the great city of Houston.
Well, one more question before we let you go. What do you think of the hashtag H-Town takeover?
I love it. I love it. They know that the takeover is real. It's real around here.
He is Keenan Murphy. He is the Crosby offensive lineman now heading to the University of Houston. Keenan, congratulations on all your hard work and everything that got you here, and congratulations on signing, and best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
There he goes, Keenan Murphy, the newest member of the Houston Cougars. He said it. The H-Town takeover.
It's real, baby.
It's real.
It's real.
And that is cool. If you look up and down, their recruiting class, and let me pull it up on texasfootball.com/signing day. There is a ton of Houston area guys. I mean,
many.
they sealed the borders.
But that's what, from the start, you've said that. It's like that's what you got to do.
I mean, you talk about, right now, Amiel Fleming from Lamarck, Colin Wilder from Katy, Javion Smith from Katy, Dixie Wooten from Houston Lamar, Hashan Glasgow from Manville. If you want to kind of squint and include Beaumont in there, you've got Keith Corbin from Beaumont Westbrook, Courtney Lark from Houston Bel Air, Derek King from Manville, Kadarian Smith from Spring, Ed Oliver from Spring Westfield, Patrick Rosette from Richmond Foster, Keenan Murphy from Crosby. Right there, all those kids are from Houston. And so the ability to seal the border, I think, has been so impressive. And you're seeing it, another place that you're seeing it, not to jump around too much. Thank you to Keenan Murphy, by the way, before we leave him. That was very cool of him to hop on. I know he's having a busy day. UTEP's doing that. You mentioned this to me as you were
Yeah,
kind
I
of.
was going through their class. Yeah.
I mean, you've got Brandon Bullitt from El Paso Chapin. Okay, you've got Robert DeHaro from El Paso Montwood, Eric Foster from El Paso Americas, Christian Johnson from El Paso Parkland, Joshua Ortega from El Paso Montwood, Richie Rodriguez from El Paso Eastwood, and then Mark Torres from El Paso Eastwood as well. Those are, in my opinion, the best players in El Paso.
For sure.
And if you've got a geographic advantage, like Houston does, like UTEP does, if you can just seal the borders and say, hey, we want to keep the best players in our town at home, then, I mean, all of a sudden you're flying high. And you can get these guys. And the other thing is that gives the fans someone to cheer for. One of the reasons, I really believe, that Aaron Jones is such a superstar out there at UTEP is because he's a local boy.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, his father, they're from Virginia originally, but he played his ball. He and his brother Alvin played at El Paso Burgess.
Right.
And so now they're starring at UTEP. I think that's a big deal. And to be able to seal the borders like they have, and even insofar as getting Ed Oliver, one of the best prospects in the nation, to get him to come to Houston, which, I mean, last year, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, would be unheard of coming to Houston. That is such a coup for Houston, and I think that they are building it the right way. And I was interested in what he had to say about the Tom Herman rumors, because those are only going to get louder.
Right.
But he had a great response.
He did. I loved his response.
I thought
it
it's like,
great.
you know what? He's here now.
He's here now.
And
until he's not, I'm not worried about it.
Exactly. I think that's exactly the way to approach it. Because I guarantee you, when he was trying to be nice about it.
Yeah.
But when he was talking about, they're going to try to play some things against you, against the team you're leaning towards, I guarantee you that's what they were saying.
Oh yeah, he's not going to be there.
They were saying, what are you doing? He's going to be at Texas, or he's going to be at A&M, or he's going to be coaching at Oklahoma State, or wherever it is. He's going to be coaching somewhere else. Why are you even paying attention to that? And that attitude shows you the maturity of it. And that's honestly, that's instilled from the top of from his high school coaches.
Right.
From guys like DJ Mann, like Cesar Rosales, like Jeff Reardon.
It's a group we like.
I mean, it is a group we like, but beyond that, we talk so much about getting players better. We talk about getting players to improve on the field. What about teaching them to be mature like that?
That was a great answer for an 18-year-old.
There's a lot. I mean, you talk about a kid who's got his head screwed on straight.
Seriously.
Excited to see him play at Houston and playing in another beautiful stadium.
He was really impressive.
TDC
It was a
stadium.
good combo.
We are DCTF Live. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes.
If we stopped the show there,
if
we've had a great show.
If we were just stopped and be like, you know what, it's done.
That would have been an all-time show.
That would have been an all-time show.
Top 5.
We ain't done, though.
Woo!
In a minute, we're going to be talking with Joey McGuire, the head coach at Cedar Hill. But one thing, I do want to plug one thing.
Okay.
And that's what these are.
Ah, yes.
So let's say you're into recruiting, right? And you want to see, you're like, 2016 is so 9 a.m., okay? If you're into that sort of thing, the International Bowl, the USA I'm throwing remotes.
Don't do that.
The USA International Bowl, USA Football International Bowl, is going on at AT&T Stadium this weekend. This week, and Wednesday, or today is Wednesday, and at 4:00 you will have the under 15 teams playing against one another, and then at 7:00 you're going to have the USA under 17, under 18 team playing the Canadian under 18 team. And this is going to have guys like Anthony Hines on it. This has some of the best prospects in the class of 2017 that we're going to get to see play against a really, really good team from Canada. We already saw them, and that's an outstanding team from Canada. That game is going to be at AT&T Stadium. It will be broadcast on ESPN3, which is the online channel. And me and my friend Ted Emmerich will actually be on the call. So if you are interested in that kind of thing, ESPN3, 4:00 and 7:00. I've got to leave right after this. That's why I'm all dressed up. This is me dressed up. Isn't that sad that this is me
you
dressed
look very
up?
dapper, Greg.
Thank you. We are DCTF Live. We're here every weekday at noon. TexasFootball.com. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. And we talk with Crosby. We talk about Crosby there, where they've got a lot of guys who are you've got a lot of guys who are putting. Did I give you the wrong number? Oh no. Did you dial the wrong number? Uh-oh. Oh, he gave me the wrong number. Oh my god. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You'll see it.
Yeah, there it is.
Joey McGuire gave me the wrong. I think he's trying to duck the interview. No, I'm sure it was just I think he sent it on his iPhone. But one of the schools that we expect to put out prospects every year is Cedar Hill. Cedar Hill, of course, south of Dallas, they put out a ton of prospects every year, and this year is no different. A ton of them, all over the place, including a couple heading to Rice, and so on. A player heading to Texas State. It's a big day for Joey McGuire as well, for all the high school coaches, because this is kind of getting kids across the finish line. That's an exciting thing for them as well. I know it is. And so we're hoping to be joined here in a moment by Joey McGuire of Cedar Hill while Max tries to figure out how his phone works. I don't like when you look at your phone. That makes me nervous.
Then don't look at me.
Okay, I won't look at you. That's actually very easy. But overall, let's see. I believe they signed 5 kids today to FBS programs. Yes, that's right. Colby McGarry heads to UTEP. Eric Sutton heads to SMU. So does Michael Clark. Josh Stewart heads to Tulsa, and Jameel Moore heads to Rice. A very impressive group of prospects once again from Cedar Hill. But this is it's same song, different verse. Last year we were talking about DeMarcus Lodge. Who's now at Ole Miss, playing wide receiver for them. One of the more dominant wide receivers we've seen in a long time. So this is, as I give you one more number. Oh, no. You're listening to live coverage of me sending Max Thompson a phone number to try to get in touch with Joe McGuire. But this is a big day for high school coaches, and I think we forget that. We forget that, yes, there's players who are putting pen to paper, and it's a big day for parents, it's a big day for families, but it's also a big day for high school coaches because they've gotten these kids to this point. And that's what's so very, very, very exciting, I think, for guys like Joey McGuire, who have been able to put together really excellent programs. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, no, Max. Did you ruin... Oh. Well, I can't hear you either. I try to tune you out. We are efforting Joey McGuire. You're listening to live coverage of that. Overall, TexasFootball.com/signing day. We're gonna have interesting. We're gonna have takes from Mike Craven up in just a moment as soon as he writes them for us. But overall, if you're looking at classes that impress me, I mentioned Texas Tech. Very impressed with their class. I think A&M's got a good class. I think that in most years, in most situations, we would be very, very, very impressed with A&M's class. But it's maybe a bit of a measured step back from past few years where they haven't had this big-time superstar power. Instead, it's just an outstanding class. Rakeem Boyd, the running back from Houston Stratford, the Anderson twins from Mineola, the big offensive linemen are going to be mainstays on that team. I think TCU had a nice haul. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with TCU. A very odd situation, though. Lucas Niang, offensive lineman from New Canaan, Connecticut. TCU's, we talked with Chad Morris a little bit earlier. TCU's a squad that does not like to stray away from their recruiting pipeline. To sign a kid from Connecticut, a little kind of caught my eye immediately. I think that Rice's class is impressive, and it got done quick. I love how David Bailiff does business. They were done by like 9:15 this morning. We mentioned Will Phillips, but a guy from Dickinson and Jordan Myers, wide receiver that we both really, really like. McAllen Memorial is a squad that we've been talking a lot about because of Trevor Spates. But their big tight end, their 6'6" tight end, Jonathan Sanchez, is heading to Rice. And if you want to talk about a program that uses tight ends still, Rice still uses them. So I think that's a great one. And then a lot of interesting guys from the small school ranks. We mentioned Will Phillips, and what about East Chambers defensive back Dylan Silcox, a guy who played a little bit of quarterback, a little bit of wide receiver, a little bit of defense for East Chambers last year for the Buccaneers. Very impressed with him heading there. With the kind of academic restrictions that they're under. They have to sign guys who can make grades at Rice. I think that this is a very, very, very solid class for Rice. And then, of course, we mentioned so much about Texas, and they are the big winners today on signing day. If anybody, quote-unquote, won signing day, it's probably Texas, and I'm not talking about just in the state of Texas, probably across the state. A very, very impressive haul for them. It's been very impressive. Max, what's going on?
We're trying. We see he answered a few minutes ago, and I could hear him, but he couldn't hear me.
So I know that they were having their signing day ceremony and it was going to end at 12:25. So maybe it ran long.
Yeah, it's possible.
Maybe he's in it, but we will continue to effort. We'll continue to effort getting Joey McGuire here because I know that he wants to talk up his kids. He's it's an easy thing to for him to do. But overall, Texas is probably the big winners. Being able to get in basically, I think, 8 guys on signing day or in the past since Thursday, headlined by Brandon Jones, but also the linebacker Jeffrey McCulloch from Aldine Davis, outstanding get for them. The linebacker core itself is really amazing. DeMarco Boyd from Gilmer, Eric Fowler, a flip, he's out of Manor. We mentioned Jeffrey McCulloch, and then the defensive tackle class. Christmas Giles from Louisiana was a big get yesterday, but then today they get Chris Daniels from Yule's Trinity. They get Marcel Southall from Duncanville. This has been an excellent day for the Texas Longhorns, and I know that they are very, very pleased. Max, what's going on?
I texted him.
Oh,
there's not much. I mean, I don't want to call him 18,000 times.
That's true. We don't want to bother him. We're gonna keep trying to get him.
We got a few minutes still.
I know.
We can still burn through it.
What has stood out to you on signing day? We've been sitting here kind of watching the coverage.
I just I don't see how we leave this day without without talking about Texas at the top. I mean, I think that's what everyone's talking about.
That's the headline.
The thing that probably gets overlooked, though, not by the Baylor fans, though, is that this is the best class Baylor's ever signed.
For sure.
It's only getting better, and the Texas late push is going to be the story, and A&M maybe not getting all their guys is going to be probably the second story. But I think honestly, Baylor getting these guys and doing what they've already done with weaker quote unquote recruiting classes, I think that's what you need to pay attention to.
I think there are 3 legit elite prospects in Baylor's class.
Sure looks like it, yeah.
At least 3. And you can argue here on what the definition of elite, but we all love Trendavian Dixon, right? We're big fans of Patrick Hudson. I mentioned him.
Oh, yeah.
And then Barish Cobb, the defensive back from Waco La Vega. He's a late flip from Oklahoma. Apparently was committed to Oklahoma. So very good class for Baylor. A great haul for them. Overall, I don't know if anybody did poorly. That's the good news. And I know that that's an easy thing to say because everyone's positive on National Signing Day. Everyone loves their class. But overall, I think we've got 12 pretty solid classes, especially considering some of the circumstances we have. We mentioned new coaches at UTSA, at North Texas, and at Texas State, and yet they were able to bring in some guys that I think were solid. Some guys that were able to, are going to be able to help. So overall, I think everybody can come out of here feeling pretty happy with their haul.
I'm going to call Coach one more time.
I will say one thing that bothers me, and it has nothing to do with Texas kids. So ESPNU doing all these live announcements, right? They told the story of a kid who was committed to Auburn, okay? Committed to Auburn. Decommits from Auburn, okay? Then he gets on ESPN and commits to Auburn. This is what we've created, I think. I think that because we've made this so much of a circus that there is attention to be made or to be had, and there are going to be people who want to go out there and grab it. Does that drive you nuts?
A little bit.
The thing about
it drives me a little nuts.
It'd be like, if I hold out. We have now encouraged top-tier prospects to hold out until National Signing Day for the express purpose of being talked about, I think. Now, not everybody does that. I recognize that. But I do think that we've incentivized that And that's why I think I really join Chad Morris in the call for an early signing period. I say get rid of National Signing Day altogether. And I think that Coach Morris was kind of on my side on that. He was like, "Yeah, we can go
I mean,
more
it
with that."
sounded like I was talking to a recording of you when he was reading off what he changed.
But I knew I liked him. But
yeah,
I will say I think that's a bit of a pipe dream.
probably.
But I think you can have an early signing period, and that would get rid of a lot of this stuff, and it would really bring back the word commitment, which I think is something that's very big. I don't think we're going to get Joey McGuire.
Well,
unfortunately. He's a little busy today.
What'll end up happening is
he's going to call you at 1:02.
He'll call about 3 minutes after the show
He's going
ends.
to call you at 1:02. That's exactly what's going to happen.
So the question then becomes, do we just sit here and fill dead air until he calls,
or do we just call it? TexasFootball.com/signing day for all things signing day.
Technically, you still got 4 minutes of the
across
show.
the state of Texas. I know, but the great thing about doing this in a non-linear format is that we don't have to. But you know what I can do?
On the other hand, the great thing about doing this in a non-linear format is that you can.
You know what we can do? We can tease tomorrow's show.
Ooh, yeah, you can talk a little bit about
Tomorrow's
that.
show.
Pretty
It's gonna
fun.
be a very special one. The author of the cover story of
Right
the
over your shoulder there.
2015 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. The guy who wrote this story, Brian Curtis, is going to be joining us.
It's pretty cool.
We're going to talk a little bit of football. We're going to talk a little bit of media. Obviously, I'm going to ask him a little bit about Grantland. R.I.P. to Grantland. Ask him about what he's doing these days. But it's going to be a fun show. Excited to have him. He's going to be in studio, sitting right here,
It's going to be exciting.
talking to me. We're going to get him to play Papa Shot. It's going to be fun.
It'll be interesting.
So you're going to want to tune in tomorrow to DCTF Live, which I'm going to end right now. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much to Chad Morris of SMU and to Keenan Murphy of Crosby. Congratulations to both of them on an outstanding day. We will try to hook up with Joey McGuire a little bit later. But for now, Vince Young, please come get your Player of the Year trophy. And we will see you tomorrow on DCTF Live.